the ceiling, there is no ceiling for these girls. Honestly, I have no idea yet. Being 20 and being as good as they are, I mean, there's multiple Olympic Games ahead of them. There's multiple World Championships. There's plenty of NCAA championships, collegiate records. So I think they could potentially be some of the best two that have ever done it, because their career can span another decade if they wanted to.
This is the highest mark in the world so far.
She is over with room to spare.
It's a collegiate record.
Well, I'll take you back even further. We did gymnastics for 8 years. So we grew up, started when we were about, well, I mean, we kind of started in our house, just like climbing off on anything. And so my mom signed us up so we wouldn't hurt ourselves.
When I first met the twins, a friend of mine was coaching them in multi-events in 7th grade, and he said to their mother, these girls are going to need to try pole vaulting. They just seem like the types. And so their mother reached out to me, and I met them in late spring or early summer of their 7th grade year. And I found they took to it like Labradors to water, and they had a great time with it and wanted to do more and more of it. And so that's how we first met and got this ball rolling.
COVID was happening, and one of my friends, family friends, they had actually set up a whole pole vault pit in their backyard. Like it was like 5 minutes away from us, and it was just really nice setup. And so we would jump there, and so I think we were really very, very fortunate that we got like consistent training throughout COVID. We just were doing these outdoor meets, and I had jumped like 14.3, which would have broken the freshman national record. And that was kind of when I was like, okay, I could be good at this. I think for me, the biggest moment was getting 3rd place at USA Nationals and qualifying for the World Championship team. I think that's when I really realized that I could have a future in like the professional side of it and not just like junior. So that was really like kind of my breakthrough mental moment in terms of like being able to pursue this like even after college.
Funny thing is, the very first time I saw them compete was here at UW, probably 5 years ago. They were in the 9th grade, so they were little, just these young girls jumping. They came to one of our meets. Because of the rules, I couldn't even say hi to them. So I just kind of was over in the corner just checking them out. Even when they were in the 9th grade, you could tell they were something special. They've been coached really well by Tim Riley for sure, and it showed in everything they did. So yeah, even though they weren't world class then, for their age appropriateness, man, for 9th graders, it was insane how good they were.
Both of them, by senior year, exceeded previous high school athletes by many inches. Hana goes to the World Championships as a high school student and placed 9th in the finals. No one had ever done that. And by then, 465 was her outdoor record. So that's fully 6 inches higher than anybody before.
Washington, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I think it just had everything that we were looking for. It had great coaches, great team culture, great academics, and then, you know, close to home, which we really love our family and parents. So staying close to home was always a plus for us. Obviously, I don't think until we made the decision, we never really were like, oh, I'm going here. But once we did, it was like, I've never regretted that decision since. And, you know, I'm really happy I chose UW.
Toby Stevenson and I have been kind of a team here for a long time. We were college teammates at Stanford back in 2000, so I've known Toby for a long time. But I never met Tim Riley until I met Hana and Amanda. And Toby and Tim had kind of run in pole vault circles for a long time because they're both super respected and, you know, nationally recognized as pole vault gurus, both of them. But I never sat in a room with both of them until I recruited Hana and Amanda at their house.
Yeah, when we started recruiting twins with Andy and Coach Powell, all the Powells, you know, they were like, yeah, let's do whatever we can. And I came up with the idea to, why not bring in their high school coach into the fold to help minimize that gap between leaving home and coming to college. New coach, new environment, right? They were already gonna get all that, so why not have a familiar face, a familiar pattern, a familiar sense of success that they've had? And so bringing in Riley, I wanted to bring him into the fold to help with that transition. And it just so happens he's a hell of a coach.
It's interesting to watch them side by side because they're both so brilliant, but they're so different. They bring entirely different skill sets to what we're doing here at Washington. They have different personalities, but they're both just fantastically detail-oriented. And between the two of them, like nothing falls through the cracks.
I think the biggest adjustment was just the change in like environment. I mean, the training and everything, that was different, but it was just like overall, you're going away from your parents, you're living in the dorms or wherever you live, you're not living at home. Being surrounded by so many elite athletes, just even in my first year, kind of lessened the pressure off myself. And I was just like, oh, well, you know, all my teammates around me are also kind of dealing with all this pressure, and you know, they're just fine. They're competing amazingly. I think also just my coaches, you know, both my pole vault coaches and my head coach kind of really did a great job with not placing those expectations on me. Obviously, you know, they want me to do well, but they want me to do well as an athlete. They don't want me to, they don't need me to place first place. They just want me to do my best. And I think I really appreciate that.
You know, how they're handling the stress of being good is not being stressed out about being good. You know, we're not here to focus on how high they can jump. Ultimately, they are jumping really high, and that sort of comes with the business of what we do. But what we want to do with them is kind of focus on that idea of the process, progress. You know, what are the goals? The goals are learning, the goals are loving, the goals are fulfillment, right? Joy in what they're doing. And if you can keep it fun, I mean, for God's sakes, you're using a stick to jump over a stick, right? Like, regardless if they're the #1 jumper in the world and the #4 jumper in the world, which they are, or they're just beginning out. It's a circus act, what we do. They just happen to be really good at it.
In pole vault, a lot of people wonder, like, how is our relationship on and off the track, or like, how do we see each other as competitors? But I think it's kind of an interesting dynamic for us that maybe not a lot of people understand, is like, I mean, we've grown up competing against each other. We're completely used to it, and it's also, in the sport, you're more competing against yourself, and I think that's very unique to pole vault in general. Like, I think a lot of people are surprised by the pole vault community in general, because when you show up at a meet, like, all your competitors are kind of all your friends. Like, when I go to the national meets, like, I get to see, like, a lot of my friends. Like, I consider them friends. So I think that definitely translates to, like, our relationship when we're competing as well. Like, I don't think we see each other as competitors necessarily.
It's a fantastic advantage to have two of them, because there would be no competition for them most of the time. And they, in a really fully positive way, they arouse each other to bring the best out of themselves. In every little practice and meets, if one outshoots the other at a meet, the other is agitated for a while, and you can really see the motivation stoked. Yet, there's nothing but hugs and praise for each other when they don't win.
She was really my only competition in high school, as well as now, but I mean, there's obviously still really amazing girls in the NCAA. I mean, she made every competition a challenge versus, you know, being able to win every single competition. We totally push each other. Like, I don't think we would necessarily be jumping as high as we could if we weren't, like, pushing each other and there for each other. I don't know if I would be where I am without having her by my side.
What sets each of them apart from anyone else that I've met in high-level athletics is they want their younger teammates to look at them and say, I want to be like these guys. I want to be able to handle the pressure. I want to be able to, you know, handle the big moment. But they're kind and they're authentic and they're generous and they're vulnerable. Like, when they don't handle the big moment particularly well, they'll say, I need help, or they'll say, I'm weak in this moment and I need help to be stronger. And I think that's where they're super valuable, because they aren't up on a pedestal. As ridiculously talented as they are and as clutch performers as they are, they also aren't afraid to say, I made a mistake today, or I need help with this. And a younger athlete or a less accomplished athlete can see them and think, God, these girls are so good and they need help too. Or they're so good and they had a bad day too and they're not trying to hide it. Like, they're not robots.
It feels like I'm a part of something bigger than myself, and also kind of like Like, I feel like I'm a part of this movement right now of like female athletes in sports. I mean, I'm seeing like all of these people in the media, and they're just like showing like what it means to be a female athlete and like strength and beauty and all of that. So it's cool to like kind of feel like I'm a part of that.
For young athletes, I think it can be really polarizing sometimes when their role models are people who are like, they look like they're only good at this one thing, and that's the one thing that they can do well, and they must just be doing that all the time. And Hana and Amanda, they're extraordinary athletes, but they're extraordinary in so many other ways too, that it's hard to imagine that they could be, as balanced as they are.
When they go places like the Reno Pole Vault Summit, where there are thousands of younger pole vaulters and smaller kids, and they just flock to them and want to talk to them and have their pictures taken, that's when they really shine as role models. They love doing it, and kids love being around them. And so in that respect, they'll get us the ambassadorship, I think, of being in the role they're moving into. They're going to be awesome at that. I think they are going to win the hearts of track and field fans more and more broadly as the stage gets bigger for them.